They need 3 months, you know. So I just wondered how you kind of made some kind of, you know, dealt with that.
It's, I tell you, being in class for all those years before I did I'm doing experimental movies with Brian De Palma in my early career, doing improv and stuff helped me, but also being in class helped me. It's very difficult when you go on a set and you live in fear of being fired. And basically that's what happened on day 1 of Mommy Dearest. Because Frank Perry, our director, came in when we had the luxury of doing screen tests before the film, which they don't do anymore hardly. But because it was a period piece, they wanted to know how we would photograph in each of the decades. And so on day 1, the makeup person, the hair person was doing, and hair and makeup people were doing me for this period. And Frank Perry comes in and says, "Oh, that looks good, but it looks too good. Can you make her look, you know, less good?" And so, so the makeup man took it down a notch, and Frank comes back and says, "Oh, it still looks too good." Third time Frank comes back, he said, "Rutanya, if you look this good, they will have you fired, and there's nothing I can do about it." So this was day 1, and I got an aha moment. I said, not only did I realize through the movie, not only was I afraid of getting fired until much later into the movie, but Frank Perry was afraid of getting fired. So the whole, because Faye was a huge star at the time. So you're surrounded by this atmosphere of fear. And that was kind of a new experience for me. I mean, I've been in an atmosphere of fear where I thought, what am I going to do with this part? But it's never been like with coming from people being careful and being this and having somebody fired because she looked at them, he looked at her the wrong way. So I think journaling helped me getting through, but just coming on and being open to that moment and seeing where is this moment going to lead me, not opening my mouth when I maybe wanted to, because I had no power. I was like, even though I was one of the stars of the film, it was like I could have been easily replaced in it now if they had really wanted it.
In addition, you also, time and time again in the book, are doing preparations for scenes you read about and how you prepared that scene. And then you get into the day's work and it's either cut,
yes,
or they're showing the back of your head,
yeah,
you know, and you can't do anything to really prepare
it. Right. So, and, you know, but you take a little bit, even though I couldn't do it, it was like, I had prepared it, so it was with me. So my character was with me, and how I walked and how I talked and how I had to be humble, because Carol Ann's character is very humble. And at one point, Faye Dunaway gave me a line reading. She says, she said to the director, she said, "I want her to yell at me when she says that line." And that is the one time I said, no. I said, Carol Ann would never yell at Joan. I mean, her whole place in that hierarchy was to calm Joan down, to be the calming force. She was not going to have a fight with Joan because if I would have a fight with Faye, I would be fired. If Carol Ann was to have a fight with Joan, she would be fired. So I said very calmly to Frank, I have really worked on my character. I have really prepared on this character. And this character would never, ever yell at Joan. So that was the one time Frank backed me up. He said, okay, you're right, you know, I buy that. And Faye didn't, she kind of bought it too. She didn't, maybe she listened, maybe she heard it, but I said, no, Faye can yell at the Steve Forrest character, she can yell at the kids, she can yell, but she didn't yell at me, but I would never yell back at her. So, so I would take it. I mean, where Steve Forrest has a fight with her, you know, when they have the thing and he walks out on her, that's fine, that's their relationship, but Carol Ann's relationship is different. But because I had worked on, prepared each little scene, that at that point I was prepared to defend myself. But it's very hard because you get into a set and a lot of times you have prepared lots of wonderful things and you don't get to do them. And then you do what you can. Maybe you put it in whatever you can in the thought and the reaction and how you say. And the thing about film is, as opposed to stage, because I worked with Roger on a very funny, wonderful play that Simon wrote, we had a chance to develop my character. I mean, we worked on it and we developed it and grew. It was funny. It was wonderful. In film, you have these little snippets, so you never know what's in and out. I mean, I have had some wonderful scenes in movies that I've done that are not in the movie, and you know, and sort of have to accept that as an actor. I think realistically, you just have to go in and say, okay, I'm going to do this scene the best I can. But whether it's in or out of the movie, it has nothing to do with me, because a lot of times it's time-wise. A lot of times, I did a film with Paul Mazursky, and I was playing this welfare worker that came in. It was a very funny scene. He had us do an improv. It was really funny. The crew afterwards laughed. I mean, you know, when the crew laughs, it's good. And Paul Mazursky is the only director ever that I worked with. The person that called me up and said, "I loved your scene, but you're not going to be in a movie." And he said, it just took away from the thrust. Your scene is so funny, it just takes away from the main character's story, and it has to be cut.
Sure.
Now, I didn't like being cut, but I appreciated him telling me, because so many times you go to a movie and you tell friends, oh, I'm in this movie, and then somebody goes to see the movie and you're not in the movie, and you think, so I always like to know ahead of time, am I in, am I out?